And Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has arrived in Lithuania to attend NATO's annual summit. Prior to his arrival, Zelenskyy denounced NATO negotiations for not providing a concrete path for his country to achieve membership. He says there is, quote, no readiness to allow Ukraine to join the alliance. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata joins us now from Kharkiv, Ukraine. Charlie, yesterday we learned that Turkey has agreed to allow Sweden to join the alliance. How can this impact the war in Ukraine?
Well, it would impact the war in Ukraine because of the countries that now border Russia. So Finland was accepted into NATO not long ago. Sweden has been trying to get into NATO for the past year or so, and Sweden has been neutral for about 200 years. So why did they decide to join now or put in the request? Because of what's happening in Ukraine. So they wanted to join because of the threat of Russia's military involvement here, and because Finland shares a border and Sweden shares the Baltic Sea, now it has become important to them too. So it is significant in terms of their own protection from NATO. And remember, we have to keep reminding everybody that this is a military alliance, which means military protection. So Sweden gets protection from the United States and the rest of the NATO countries. Now, you also need to have a unanimous vote. So Turkey has been holding off for some time because of concerns about Sweden and its, according to Turkey anyway, and President Erdogan, its lax approach to Kurdish people, who they consider terrorists against Turkey. So this is a significant step forward, and it has an influence on what's going on here because, once again, it's another country close to this region, and that will impact Russian involvement and influence here.
Well, part of what's going to happen is President Zelenskyy is scheduled to meet with President Biden during the summit. That's expected to happen tomorrow, Wednesday. Talk to me about how Ukrainians are feeling about that meeting, seeing as Zelenskyy criticized NATO for not clearing a path to membership, how the president said that, joining NATO for Ukraine would be premature, and also addressing concerns that have nothing to do with the war, about Ukraine's readiness to join NATO in the first place, even if there wasn't a war.
Right. So President Zelenskyy has cranked up the rhetoric. Now, he has a job to do in terms of trying to represent Ukraine in itself. This is a country at war. People here have expectations. They've seen the kind of involvement and the kind of supplies and equipment and training in this fight against Russia. They want more, and they always want more. But President Zelenskyy has come out swinging. It's after what they believe is a leak statement, which will come out tomorrow, which says they believe this to be watered down. We will be in a position to extend an invitation when allies agree and conditions are met. Now, President Zelenskyy tweeted to that, reacting, saying, "We value our allies, but Ukraine deserves respect." So this is the groundwork before this even happens tomorrow. We always knew that he was going to be bullish about NATO membership. There are difficulties and complications in that. Ukraine can't even think about becoming a member of NATO as long as it's in conflict with Russia, as long as there are occupied areas of Russia. But the fact that there isn't even a plan or a promise or a suggestion of a promise has clearly angered the Ukrainian president. And yes, people here know that really the only sort of defense that they're going to get in any meaningful way will be the United States and NATO partners, but a sort of NATO membership, or the promise of a NATO membership, which will make President Putin pay attention because now it's part of a military alliance. Again, there are so many hurdles in the way, and I think that's what's being addressed here. But just the language that's being used has clearly irritated President Zelenskyy, who calls the whole thing absurd.
Yeah, well, support is not the same thing as respect, and he's demanding both. Charlie D'Agata in Kharkiv, Ukraine, thank you.